The Renters' Rights Act formally comes into play on May the 1st, 2026. In this video, I'll cover the key topics that student landlords in Newcastle need to be aware of. Let's get into it. The abolishment of Section 21. So that has been a big headline. However, in a student-specific scenario, it's not that relevant. Realistically, how many times have you actually served a student to Section 21? Or have they just actually moved out the property as they were supposed to? I doubt this behaviour will change, and thus Section 21 is not really a relevant change to student HMOs. From a legal standpoint, we do have a saving grace. There's a new student-only exemption coming in called Grounds 4A. Grounds 4A is basically a student-only repossession ground. It means that you can still give notice for tenants to leave on a specific date as long as that is between June and September, aligning with the typical student cycle. Now, of course, there's caveats to being able to serve this notice, i.e. a lot more admin and some very specific dates. We, of course, will be guiding our landlords through these changes and making sure they stay compliant. Another change in the Renters' Rights Bill is the Section 13 rent increases. But in reality, the way that we currently work is we work on a fixed term 12-month tenancy, which in effect is one rent increase per year. So realistically, nothing changes. We still increase the rent once per year, either to the same tenants or to new tenants. Now a change that is more relevant, the change from fixed term tenancies to periodic tenancies, i.e. tenancies with a start and end date, to tenancies with a start date but no end date. As I mentioned, Grounds 4A allows you to hypothetically protect your end date. However, because the properties are now periodic, that in effect means the monthly and the tenants can give notice to leave early. They will have to give 2 months notice, but this can be served at any point in the tenancy. While I appreciate this will be a concern for many landlords, ultimately student behaviour has been quite predictable for many years, and I believe it will continue to act in the same way. Yes, there might be pockets of isolated incidents where tenants do leave early and unexpected voids do happen, but unfortunately that is something that we're just going to have to adjust to. In reality, I believe most tenants, student tenants, will still be renting from term to term, and tenancies in effect will still remain around that 12-month cycle that we're used to. Can you still market your property early, i.e. October, November? In effect, yes, but the biggest change is we cannot sign tenancy agreements until 6 months before the start date of the tenancy. This is to ensure that we can still use the Grounds 4A notice. If a tenancy is signed before 6 months, unfortunately, it invalidates Grounds 4A and you cannot guarantee repossession for the next academic year. Do you need to change your existing tenancies? You do not need to send new tenancy agreements. Everything will automatically convert on May the 1st for both existing tenancies and for new tenants. While these changes might take some getting used to, ultimately legislation always changes and will continue to do so, and the property market has always stayed resilient during these changes. I don't believe the Renters' Rights Act, no matter how much press it's had, will be any different. Yes, there'll be time needed to adapt, but I believe the student market specifically will be as profitable as ever, predictable as ever, and continue to be a great investment. Now, if you're currently managed by Bowson, you can rest assured that we already have policy and procedure in place, and we're well prepared for these changes to come into effect from May the 1st. If you're not currently using Bowson, you need to make sure that your agent is well aware of the changes and what is needed from their side to protect you and your investment. Ultimately, their failings will come back to you as the landlord. I hope you found this video helpful and I've covered all the topics that were of concern. If you would like to discuss working with Bowson, have a general chat around how we could help you prepare for the Renters' Rights Act, or just a general conversation about any queries that you have following this video, please feel free to get in touch. Always happy to have a conversation. Thank you and goodbye.